It is time to bring back the soap opera that's, I mean, it's going through a ratings crisis. I just have to say it.
The writer's room is,
like sands through the hourglass. These are the bays of our lives. Lottery season edition. The Warriors lost again on Sunday, this time to the Hornets, with a starting lineup entirely filled with players not on the team last season. This is really like a soap opera. You know when they just pretend an actor hasn't left and all of a sudden some new guy shows up playing your favorite character? D'Angelo Russell and Draymond Green sat out with injuries. Draymond's finger may in fact keep him out for several weeks, right?
Convenient.
Steph's broken hand, Kevon Looney's, he's got the nerve condition now. That's actually pretty worrying. Klay's ongoing rehab from an ACL tear. The Warriors are very young. We might have to change the name of the soap opera from Bays of Our Lives to Young and the Restless. Who knows? There's a lot going on here. These injuries have been overwhelming a team that still had ambitions this year, but because of the D'Angelo sign and trade, the Warriors are hard capped. They have limited financial flexibility of even deals that they could do or people they could sign out of the G League. So, Chiney, what do you think? Is this inevitable or avoidable, this situation?
I think this is avoidable and inevitable, just because injuries do happen. But if you think about it, like, it's unlucky. The Warriors have created their own luck based on how Steph Curry has matured and Klay Thompson has matured, how Draymond Green has played. They've created their own luck. But the sad thing is that they've run into like an unlucky run with health, starting with last year's playoff run. Not having Klay, KD, Boogie, and Iggy all
former. You're saying inevitable,
yeah,
right?
It's
you're
inevitable.
saying they didn't have anything to do with it. This wasn't avoidable.
No, this was not avoidable because injuries happen in basketball. But to have this many injuries to one team consequentially, yeah, that's the part where it's like, that's unlucky. But when I think about this current situation, why rush a Steph back? Why put Draymond out there? There's really no point at this point. But it's just unfortunate because for a team that has been at the top, they've created their own standard of excellence, and it sort of seems like it's out of their control right now.
I mean, you could argue, sure, it's avoidable if you don't want to be hard capped and confined. You don't go after D'Angelo Russell as a remedy for the Kevin Durant departure. But I'm with Sinead. You don't lose an All-NBA backcourt to injury and find much success. I mean, look, I think what's going to have to happen in the organization is a change of focus. And they haven't really been doing player development much in the last few years. And why should you? I mean, what is the point? You have developed. As an organization, you have all pro players out there. But I think they're going to have to sort of, frankly, do a little Miami Heat, right? Like, they're going to have to find some of those guys. And what our friend Ethan Strauss is calling Bob Myers' gap year.
Right.
He gets to go to some college gyms. He gets to scout. They might have a top 5 pick in a draft of reasonable depth. I mean, that's going to be interesting. So I think what you do is you take the loss and you sort of reorient some of the organizational priorities around player development, draft talent, and scouting, and you kind of make the best of it. And you come back next year with, hey, 3 All-NBA players, a top 5 pick, a little more wiggle room in terms of financial flexibility.
Plenty of supporting cast that's getting burned now.
Exactly. Right. And then so, I mean, that's what you do. In fact, I'd rather concentrate all the misfortune in one year.
Right. And look, they're going to keep that pick. That pick would have gone to Brooklyn, right, if they had finished outside the below the top 20. What are we calling it, right, in the lottery? So they get to keep that pick. To your point, maybe you get a Spursian, David Robinson gets hurt, you end up with Tim Duncan kind of situation, right? Look, at the end of the finals last year, Steve Kerr came out of the press conference room and was chatting with a couple of us reporters, and he kept saying, can't we just take the year off next year? He's like, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. And of course he was joking around, but we heard for 5 years about the mental and physical toll that the Warriors were under and what it took on them. And we saw it. These injuries, to me, are not a run of bad luck. I don't think it's a coincidence. Now, it's not to say it's avoidable. The avoiding would have been don't go to 5, all these straight finals. But I just think that when you run these guys into the ground the way it was necessitated to have that incredible run, mentally and physically, I don't think it's a coincidence that Klay gets hurt, that Kevin gets hurt, that Steph now here gets hurt. A bad fall, right, is a bad fall. I mean, one of those things could have happened. But the way the human body is supposed to be under stress for that long, I don't know. To me, this is something that we couldn't have predicted, but I'm not shocked by the
You know, it's funny.
injuries.
There's a story in my file. Every, I think, reporter and writer has a few stories that you kind of have in the bank and you haven't really. And one of mine was the case for the NBA sabbatical.
Right.
And that the teams and players of certain levels of achievement, maybe every 7 years you kind of just pack it in and you do it like some of these folks over in Europe do, and you just kind of go and you go to an ashram or you go to a retreat and you do this. But by the way, and I'm joking, but like, is there a career that's more intense than NBA champion?
Look, it is a medical fact that you are more susceptible to injury. The more stress you put on your body, the more tired you are.
And it's mental stress
So
as well.
I am not saying that, oh my God, none of these things would have happened if they had played only 82 games a year. But the fact that we saw this run of injuries from this team, I don't think it is a total coincidence.
Total agreement.
And the fact that, as you say, it's all concentrated in one point could end up with a very good franchise next year all over again, because that's the Warriors' way.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports analysis and highlights, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.